I'm Marnie Hughes, and this is Missing on NewsNation. Each week, we focus on a missing person case from across the country, taking you behind the headlines. Every missing person matters, no matter their background or past, race or circumstances. They're missed by their family, their friends, their community, and sometimes by complete strangers. It's our mission to bring these cases to light with the hope of finding answers and sometimes offering closure. And maybe you can help us solve some of these mysteries too. This is Missing.
This week's case takes us to Southeast Pennsylvania, where the family of this young woman have been looking for years. 21-year-old Kortne Stouffer has been gone for 11 years now. Before her disappearance, Kortne spent the night going out with her friends, and through the course of that last night that we know about, police were called to her apartment several times. Still, police all these years later have no idea where she went on that night in July of 2011. NewsNation's Sloan Glass has a closer look at Kortne's disappearance.
Some inner tubes, a hot July day, and a mission to remember Kortne Stouffer.
This is just kind of one of my favorite days of the year because we get to celebrate her and we get to keep her name and memory out there and do something that she loved to do.
Look and see some of the same people been here 11 years in a row. It's incredibly humbling.
Stouffer was 21 when she vanished from her Palmyra, Pennsylvania apartment in the early hours of July 29, 2012. It's a painful mystery that haunts her family.
And it all goes back to some of the people that were around her that night.
On the night before her disappearance, Stouffer hosted a get-together at her apartment. Investigators say a neighbor called police and Stouffer's boyfriend was arrested. Upset, Stouffer with a group of acquaintances headed to downtown Harrisburg. At the now-closed hardware bar, Stouffer reportedly got into an altercation with a man who she believed had stolen money from her in the past. Then around 3 a.m., Stouffer and a friend returned to her apartment. An argument broke out with the neighbors and police were called. Palmyra police ended the argument and Stouffer and the male friend went inside. But a short time later, another 911 call about stomping and yelling coming from her apartment. When police arrived for the third time, shortly after 4 a.m., they say all was quiet and dark, so they left. The friend told her family they went to sleep around 4, and when he woke up at 7 a.m., Kortne wasn't there, so he left. When she didn't show up to meet her family at the Lebanon area fair, they went to check on her. They found her purse, keys, phone, and car, but no sign of Kortne, despite searching her home and car, and even a local lake. After a false tip she was there, her family says all they have is more questions.
I just don't believe for 1 second that many people can be involved with my daughter that night in such a short period of time. I have no information and have no idea what happened to her.
Investigators have said everyone in contact with Kortne that night was interviewed multiple times. They have also confirmed looking into 2 break-ins at Kortne's apartment before her disappearance. But because the case is an open investigation, they won't reveal details.
Kortne's a special young lady.
To mark 10 years since Kortne's disappearance, her family and friends sat down with a local production company to talk about their fondest memories.
No matter how much time passes, I'll never forget the sound of her laugh. She was just a really wonderful soul, and I just miss her a lot. I miss her every day.
As a child, she was just always bright, flower, inquisitive. Always want to be right there in the center of things.
She was just a beautiful person. I can still hear her laugh and see her smile. She was just loud, funny, crazy person, but she was awesome.
There's 2 extra larges.
Selling t-shirts to raise money, Kortne's family has built up a large reward fund, and they hope their continued efforts to keep the case in the spotlight will someday bring Kortne home.
That one day we will know what happened to her, and there will be justice served.
You know, 11 years later, you're like, do the right thing, do the right thing. I'm still asking to do the right thing. You know, there's still $100,000 for the person that does the right thing.
And that is the one thing every case we cover has in common. Family and friends who will go to the end of the earth for answers, and they will never stop searching. Joining me now, one of Kortne's good friends, Elizabeth Monk. Elizabeth, thank you for being with us and giving us some time. It's hard. 11 years goes by with no answers for you and other friends of Kortne's. I know it is so sad to have this much time pass. What's your favorite memory of Kortne? What do you remember about her that you still hold on to now and cherish?
Definitely her fun personality, and she was just a beautiful person to be around. She was a really good friend and gave great advice, and she was just loud and crazy, so she made it fun.
What types of things was she into? What did she enjoy doing in her personal life?
She loved being outdoors, being in the woods, going floating down the river. So that's why we do that. That was one of her favorite things to do. Definitely jamming out to music, going to concerts. That's one of the things that, you know, is sad. She's missed out on so much time. Just fun and family life.
Did you ever have any concerns, Elizabeth, about her safety as you guys were in groups? Had she ever shared anything? Any red flags that all these years later you think back that stick out to you in your mind?
Not to me. I think she kind of sheltered us from that part of her life because we were younger. Like, she kept like hanging out with us, and we would have a lot of fun, and we were really close. But she didn't disclose, you know, that side of her life. She never really talked about it with me. So I don't really.
Now,
you know, the main things that have happened, like the main things that happened, I knew about, but other things I didn't. I found out, you know, growing up later in life, you know, from her mom and stuff too.
Are there things now that you've learned about what she may have been going through then that have come to light that the family has shared and police have shared?
A little bit, not really. Like, just little things like leading up to her disappearance and just coincidences surrounding that night, you know, just where she was, who she was with.
I know it's been a lot of time, Elizabeth, but what do you remember about being told that she was missing?
I remember not believing it at first. I was like in denial, I think. But I just thought like it wasn't possible, you know, it's such a little town. Things like that don't happen here. How could that be? But yeah, it was hard for a long time. We were so young too. You know, we had to go back to school when the summer ended. So we grew up a lot together, but it was hard not having her to be there.
Yeah. Was she working at the time? Was she going to school?
She was working with one of her friends, Lindsay, doing dog grooming at the time. So she was cutting and grooming dogs. That's what she loved to do. She used to do humans, and then she said that she liked working on the animals more.
What were her plans for the future, Elizabeth, that she had shared?
I just know she wanted to have fun. I mean, I was really young. I have a lot of good memories with her and everything. I just know she would have been she would have had a great life. We do talk about, we wonder, you know, what she would be like today. Would she still be the same crazy person, or would she have settled down a little bit? So we never really know, but I just love remembering her, how she was, and thinking of the good times and the happy memories.
Right. Again, I know it's been some time and you were young, but tell me about the searches over the years. Have you been a part of any of those as people in that community continue to look?
There were like the big search parties in the beginning, and then the lake after a couple years. There was a lead that came through. I actually remember when the lake was searched, we were in school that day, and it was really hard. I remember being there because me and her sister were in the same grade. So it was always we're always hanging around together.
How's her sister doing? How's the family?
It's tough. I struggle too, because I obviously, you want answers for yourself and for everybody, but it's mainly for the family. I struggle with just being close to them and seeing it, going through everything. Pictures are everywhere, still in the house. Her memory is always going to be alive. You just don't know what happened.
Do you still live in Palmyra now?
Yes, I do live in Palmyra.
Okay. And is this case something that people still talk about? Is it still a part of daily conversation?
Yes, absolutely. People do reach out randomly to the family, and or if you run into them, they'll say, I follow her story, we pray for you guys all the time. So there's always people reaching out and that know about what happened.
All right. And there is a $100,000 reward. We heard her dad a moment ago say somebody knows something. They hope people will come forward. Even all these years later, there have been these gatherings at the 10-year mark. There was a gathering. Were you there for that, Elizabeth?
Yes. Yeah, we do that every year.
Tell me about those.
So it's pretty fun because it's just celebrating our life. So everybody just comes together, we get a whole bunch of floats, and then afterward we'll do fireworks, cookout, things like that. It's just really nice. Everybody coming together, and we just talk about court and keep her memory alive. And
if you could say anything to your friend Elizabeth, if you could send a message to Kortne, what would you say? What you miss most?
I would say I just missed your laugh, and I just really would love a hug too. She gave really good hugs.
I know her being gone leaves a hole in your heart. Please give our best, Elizabeth, to Kortne's family and to the rest of her circle of friends and supporters who want to know what has happened to her. I appreciate you giving us some time. Thank you so much.
Every missing person matters, no matter their background or past, race, or circumstances. It's our mission to bring these cases to light. If you have a case you think we should be looking into, submit it to newsnationnow.com/missing. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Marnie Hughes. This is Missing.